Hey guys, how's it going? It's Travis Mortz with the Forest Hill Film Lab. Tonight I've got a few buddies over and we are printing in the darkroom. So I'm going to do my best to show you guys some of this process, talk to you guys about exactly what goes on and how to do this process for you guys at home if you want to make some prints at home. I'm going to try to keep it short, so I'm going to explain the test strip process, what goes into the actual printmaking process, and maybe at the end I'll show a print or two, but I don't know if I'm really going to get too far into dodging and burning and all those other things that goes into printing. That might be it for another video. Otherwise, I'll be talking for an hour long, basically. So tonight we're basically just going to get to learn how to make a correct exposure on a photographic print, how to develop a photographic print, and really make an image, since that's what I talk about so often, is making real tangible photographs. So tonight we're doing it, and I've got all the enlargers set up for 35 millimeter. So we've got 50 millimeter lenses on there. We got a 35 mil carrier in each one, and I've got all my chemicals already distributed in trays over there. I'll show you guys that in just a minute here. And yeah, we're all good to go. I'm gonna get the safe lights warmed up, and we're gonna get this show on the road, basically. All right, so we've got our trays all set up. I just want to show you guys before I turn the lights off. Here we have our developer tray. I mixed it up with some Kodak Dectol. This shit right here. It's powder stuff. This is a mixture that I mixed up last time, so we're going to see if it works or not, and if it doesn't, I have this still. This is like $3.50. I kind of like these small bags because then I can mix them up as I go and always have fresh stuff. And then this is indicator stop bath, which is this stuff. It doesn't really go bad. You mix up 40 milliliters per 1,000 milliliters. So I did a little bit of that. When this starts to turn purple, it's telling you that it's bad, and that's what it means when it says indicator stop bath. It means that there's been too much developer in it, and it turns purple, and it's no good anymore. And then we have the fixer. So basically, the developer is what creates our image, and once our image is created, we leave it in there for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and once we have an image that we're happy with, we move it over into the stop bath. That stops it from being light sensitive. And then, that stops it from developing, and then we move it into the fixer. The fixer then stops it from being light sensitive, and then we can turn the lights on and take a look at it. And then after the fixer, we put it here, and this is like my big wash tank, where put the prints in there and wash it up. So basically, we're gonna get started. Kind of put some negatives in the enlarger, turn the lights out, and see how dark it gets in here, and see if we could show you guys exactly how our print's made. Alright, so now we're putting the negative in the negative carrier. These are a little tough because it's 2 separate plates, so I'm going to sandwich them in. And then what we want to do is hold it up to the light. And I have this like shiny side up, which is the emulsion side down, so that way my image will be right side up correct. Let's see here. There we go. I got my image straight in there. You want to make sure your negative's straight inside your carrier. And then I can put it in here. And we're going to project this onto an easel, and we'll see what it's like. I got to turn the lights out now. Alright, so I put the negative in the negative carrier, but I wanted to show you guys a little bit of the enlarger, because once we get into the dark, I'm going to be switching lenses so you can see up close what we're doing. And because these lights aren't very bright, I need to have like a super wide aperture. So I'm shooting my 55 1.2 lens that I talked about in the last video. But here, come check this out. Here we have my timer. And this one's a little bit more detailed than others, but we've got our focusing light here, which is basically turning the enlarger on constantly so we can see our image. And then when we're done doing that, we put it into exposure mode, and then that's going to be timed exposures as we choose, 10, 20, 30 seconds, whatever it may be. For our test strips, we're going to be doing 5 seconds. So I'll just set it up to 5 right now. And when I talk about turning the focusing light on, this is what I'm talking about. Actually, why don't we come over here and I'll show you another timer I have. This is a more standard timer. It's kind of tucked back there, but it's got the dials And that also regulates time. This is what you might be used to from school. This is a focus time. So come back over here. Alright, so to focus this thing, basically the raise and lower is going to change the size of the image, the overall size of the projection. Get some spider webs back here. And then this knob here is going to be actually focusing the image once we've decided what size we want. So, yeah, this enlarger is just like anything else. It's basically a lamp that holds a negative. So all my enlargers, the quality doesn't change. It's like a lens at the bottom and a light bulb at the top. It's pretty basic. And then this timer dictates how long that light bulb stays on for. So we're going to turn the lights off. We're going to get you guys on the tripod, and we're going to look at this image projected and make some test strips. Alright, so I've got my negative in there, but since I just messed with the enlarger showing it to you guys, I don't really know what we're working with. So I turned on my focusing light. I'm going to make sure that I don't have a contrast filter in there, and I want to open this up all the way so I can focus at maximum brightness. I always like to get my focus as close as I can just by eye, and then we're going to open up this nifty little box. It's a microsight, and what this is a grain focuser. So instead of just guessing that your image is sharp from the enlarger, we're going to focus on the actual grain of the film so we know that the focus is sharp, because just like anything else, we're making an image right now and we need to focus on the light projecting through the lens. It's basically just a backwards image. Instead of light coming through the lens onto our film, it's going from the film through our lens. So we're going to focus on this and see how it looks. And there we go. That's perfect sharpness. The thing about these images are that the 8x10 piece of paper is not the same shape as our negative. So sometimes stuff will get cropped off, and this is when you decide your framing. This is, you know, cropping or whatnot. You can make it bigger, or you can make this image smaller to fit onto an 8x10 piece of paper. I'm not sure what I want to do with this one. I think I'm going to just kind of leave it centered. I don't mind leaving that white space on the edges because I'll just crop it off later with a paper cutter. So this is ready for test strips. Now I've got the lens wide open, which is way too bright. So we're going to stop it down to, oh, I can't hardly see this. We're going to go to f8 here. And then we're going to get... Alright, so now we've got our projected image. I want to put a contrast filter in here. And this is like a red filter, which basically, like, it restricts a little bit of light and it creates the contrast because you could get more time out of your exposures. And the intensity of your contrast filter is basically how dark the red is, how much light it restricts, and, you know, basically you get to develop and expose for more time. So basically we've got this in here. I'm going to turn my light off now. I'm going to open up my envelope of paper. This is a normal test strip that we would put in there, and we would do it in increments. But I'm a wasteful bastard, and we're going to just do a whole sheet in there because I like trying to see what's going on. So we're going to slap a whole sheet in there. Don't worry, guys, this is old paper someone gave me, so it's just one big experiment. So here we go. We put the whole sheet in there. Always make sure to put your paper back in the envelope because you're going to turn the lights on in a little bit. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to expose it for 5 seconds at a time, and we're going to block sections of the image. So what will happen is as I go, I'll have 5-second intervals of the image, and I'll have about a range of 20-25 seconds to decide where I like the image at. So here we go. Let's do this thing. So now that first one has 5 seconds, but by the end of it, that one's going to have the most amount of time. Because this light is accumulating on the paper just like a long exposure would with film. Now that's got 10, this has 5, and we're going to continue on, and the last increment will be the 5-second, and the first increment will be the long one. The reason I like doing a whole sheet of paper is so I don't have to strategically place my strip in a section that has multiple different tones. I can just do the whole image and kind of get a wide range of what's going on, rather than just focusing on one little strip of it. And we'll go with that. And now we're going to throw this into the developer and kind of see what pans out. Alright, so like I mentioned earlier, this is some old developer I had from the last time I printed, so we're going to see if it works, but it should. I had it in a bottle that had no air in it, so we're just going to let it sit in there. I actually haven't grabbed any tongs yet, so I'm going to grab those now while we wait. So now I got some tongs, and we actually do have an image coming through, so I guess this developer is good. We want to make sure that we get the paper in there nice and evenly, so then we don't have any basically dry spots where there's no developer and it just looks like a white blotch. So now that the developer is working, we're going to let it sit for a second, move it to the next bath, which is the stop bath, and then once we get it into the fixer, we can turn the lights on and kind of assess what we want to work with and where we want to go from here with our enlarger. So now we're going to take it out of the developer, and like I was mentioning earlier, when too much developer gets into our stop bath, it'll begin to turn purple. So we want to make sure that we do like a 10 or 15 second drip here to make sure we get as much developer off the paper as we can, because we're going to be printing a lot tonight and I don't want to have to make a new batch of stop bath. So here we go, we're going to put it in the stop bath, and what this is doing is it's taking our developed image and it's making it no longer, it's going to stop the development basically. It's going to take what we had and save it. It's like a preserver. And then we're going to move it on to the fixer. So the first bath I want to do it for like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. And then the second one, it only needs to be in here for like 30 seconds to a minute. It doesn't take a whole lot. And then we're going to move it to the fixer. And for fixer, we could leave it in there for a few minutes, turn the lights on. But to like get a real solid fix, we want to leave it in there for a little while, maybe 5-10 minutes, and then on to the final wash. So this is definitely good. Once again, we want to do our 10 second, 15 second drip, because I don't want all this yellow stuff in my fixer. This stop bath, it doesn't matter much because we're in the dark either way, but it looks like dehydrated pee, so it's pretty nice. So when it starts turning purple, you know it, because it's usually bright yellow. Alright, we're going to move this to the fixer, and I'm going to turn the lights on in a second, and we're going to see what we've got. Alright, so we're going to pull it out of our fixer. I grabbed a horrible pair of tongs. I'm going to have to switch these out, but whatever. So here we go. Let it drip. I think I got to pour some more fixer in there too, because it's kind of shallow. And let's see, we're going to go over here into the light. So now we can see our test strip nice and good. We can see this area here is a little too dark. This is definitely too light. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And 30 looks, I mean, oh my goodness, look at these thumbprints on here. I've got some horrible thumbprints on my negative. Anyways, we're going to have to figure that out. So I would say 5, 10 looks pretty good at 10. So I think I'm going to try that time, and we're going to see what a whole image looks like at 10 and go from there. Alright, so we just had a look at our test strip, and like I was saying, I really like the 10-second portion of the test strip. But the problem with doing a 10-second exposure in the darkroom is that it doesn't give us enough time to do any sort of dodging or burning adjust. Well, burning is done after the fact, but it doesn't give us the time to do any dodging, and it also is it's such a short such a short exposure time that it's problematic for me. So what I like to do is once I figure out what exactly I like about my test strip, which like I mentioned was 10 seconds. Just like anything in photography, if you stop down your lens, it will just double your time. And by doing that, I can stop my lens down one stop and make my time 20 seconds. So therefore, I'm not, if I'm dodging for 3 or 4 seconds, it's not 30 or 40% of the whole entire duration of my exposure. That's mostly the number one reason why we don't want a 10-second exposure, is that then every second is 10% of your exposure time, which is, it's just too significant a chunk of time to be playing with, basically. When you increase that exposure to 20 seconds, you get the same outcome, but you get more time to play around with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my lens down one stop. We're at f8. I'm going to go to f11. And then I'm going to clear this and go and do 20 seconds. I'm going to cut the lights off, and we're going to do an exposure at 20 seconds. And then I'm going to throw it in the developer, and we're going to see just how we like that. Like I said, it's an equivalent exposure, just like in photography. When you stop down and change your shutter speed, that's basically what we're doing. Is we're stopping down and we're changing our shutter speed to 20 seconds instead of 10 seconds. And so we're going to throw some paper in here and see what we get. So I got our paper out, and just like film, paper's got an emulsion side, which is the light sensitive side, and then a non-emulsion side. It's pretty clear because it's glossy, but some paper is not so glossy, and it is kind of hard to tell if you're using like a matte paper. So if you are having trouble, sometimes paper will curl up on the edges, and then the inside of the curl would ultimately be the emulsion. These easels have little stoppers here, so I just kind of put it in the corner. We're going to hit it for 20 seconds and see how it goes. Alright, so here's our sheet at 20 seconds, and I stopped down one more stop. I think I'm at f11. It's kind of hard to see the stops on the enlarger lenses, so your guess is as good as mine, I suppose. Here we go. We're going to let this develop for a little bit. I got this tray kind of deep with chemicals, so it's kind of hard to see the print at the bottom, but... Oh, there she is. Oh, yeah. That's the good stuff. Here we go. We're getting our image. And see what I'm talking about? Now we've got some dark areas that I'd like to touch up by dodging, and by having a longer time to do that, I have that control to change things in the image. But this is how we get our image. I mean, it was pretty simple. I really did one test strip, and then I was good to go, and now I'm making a good quality image that it's a nice baseline. We always have to figure out how to make a baseline image to work from and really perfect to our liking. So that's kind of what I wanted this video to be about, was how to get your baseline image, your starting point. And it's pretty simple. It's test strips and a little bit of math if you want that control that I like having. And basically, you know, it's pretty simple stuff. This developer is just like any other developer, but we've got an image there. And now this is ready to go on to the next bath, which is our stop bath. Alright, so I've got the test strip print here, and then this is my first actual print. Like I said, we stopped down and we did 20 seconds. So I want to show you guys in comparison to the test strip print. Here we go. And here's our 10-second increment, and look at the pole, looks just about the same. The detail in Timmy is actually really nice. I'm pretty happy with this print the way it looks even. I'm not sure that I would do any dodging or burning. I think it all looks pretty good. If anything, I might give this a little bit more light in the corner here so I get some more border separation, and that would be burning. So I would do it for the time that I have, and then I would block the image and give this about 5 or 10 more seconds of light in that area. Just get this bank darker. Like I said, that's kind of a whole technique that needs its own video. So we're going to just kind of centralize the video on this, which is basically how to get our base print. And that's something really nice to work with. I could even make 5 or 10 of these and be happy with that quality. So there we go. That's how you make a print. Pretty easy. So now you guys have seen the process basically from start to finish on exactly how to make a print, how to get to that point of having an actual image on paper that looks good. How do we get there? And it's basically just done by test stripping and being, you know, patient and understanding your equipment. If you don't understand your equipment and you don't understand exactly what's happening when you're making these prints, it's a lot more difficult to understand the whole process. I'll just go over briefly. Basically, we've got our negative, which is a negative image, and we're projecting light through it. which basically flips that image back to positive, and we have our light sensitive paper, which is our film in this situation, and it basically receives that negative light and it flips positive just the way our negative flip negative, and you know, we get that nice exposure. And basically, if you don't understand the equipment you're using, then making a print seems like a very daunting task, but the fact of the matter is it's not really that difficult. Tonight I showed you guys exactly how to make a single print, and the fun thing about this video is that I actually had a friend here with me who has never printed in his life. He's never seen a darkroom in his life. I just developed his first roll of film for him like 3 or 4 days ago. He had like 5 more rolls we developed, and he made his first prints in the darkroom. And I like to show you guys some of the prints just so you can see that this is, you know, this is a skill that's easily acquired. I wasn't holding his hand through the way. He was putting his negatives in one after the other and cranking out prints. And I couldn't be more stoked about it because it's like a true test. Here we go. It's like a nice little artsy print of some razor wire. Nice sharpness. He, you know, he did some testing on this one. He had a lighter version. He decided he wanted to give it a little more time to make it exactly how he wanted, which is the best part about printing. This is really the most creative part of the photography process. Scanning, there's no creativity in scanning. There's no creativity in developing. The creativity in composition is also photography, of course, but when it comes to actually making an image the way you want it to, what defines a good print is solely based on how you feel about the way the print looks. So you could think this is a great print, or you could like it lighter or darker, and that's your choice as a photographer. And that's the beauty of working in the darkroom. I wanted to show you guys as well our print that we made, our 20-second print. I didn't do any dodging or burning because, like I mentioned, I wasn't really teaching that in this video, so I didn't really want to apply the techniques that I wasn't talking about. I do plan on maybe making some more darkroom techniques videos once I am back in the darkroom, basically. But here we go. Here's the photo of Timmy. We got nice detail here. This was a shadowed area, which is why I kind of wanted to expose the frame for this. We've got the Capitol here in the background. Nice composition. And, you know, I'm really happy with the quality of this print. I made another one at the same time. I didn't feel like I needed to make any changes. And then here's another image shot on Fomapan. And this Fomapan was a really, really, really dense negative, super thick silver. I had to open up like 3 stops and give it like 30 seconds. So that's the interesting part about working in the darkroom, is every negative is completely different. So you have to start from the base every single time you put a negative in there. You put a new negative in there, you're back to test strips, back to figuring out what exposure you want for your base photograph to work from, and dodge and burn from there and make any adjustments you want from there. Anyways, guys, that pretty much sums it up. You guys have been talking a lot about a video about printing, so I figured I would make one for you. I also have some more exciting news. We've got the foresthillfilmlab.com up and running. So for you guys out there with all the questions about where to send film, please go to the Forest Hill Film Lab page, foresthillfilmlab.com. You could order film developing on there. You could pay with PayPal or credit card, super easy. The address is like plastered all over it, but it's a little bit hard to find if you have trouble. It's in the contact section, it's in the shipping section, and it'll also show up at the time of the transaction. So yeah, guys, get out there. Check out the new website. I'm so excited about it. We're going to have an online camera store coming up pretty soon here in the next few days, where I'll be putting up cameras I find around the area for people who, you know, want new or fun, exciting 35mm cameras and stuff. And yeah, I'm really excited about the lab. I'm trying to do more and be more active for you guys. So I really hope you enjoyed this printing video. I hope it was helpful for you guys. And until next time, you guys, keep on shooting.